aka Missy Bruce, aka Veronica Seward. She's married to a guy named Richard. Now you see the date on this. I tried to get a hold of Missy because I was being harmed. And Brenda Dickinson, who used to work with Sandhills Crisis Intervention Program, told me that I should go to Missy for help after Tamara quit her job. I'm going to play some recordings with my little sister throughout this that show that my family did everything that they could to try to, well, fuck up the situation. Take me to Tillamookkk Library.
Okay, Tillamookkk County Library. Here we go.
We're not actually going to the library, by the way. I'm going to the Tillamookkk Center Market. I am going to tell you a little bit about the story.
Tillamookkk County Library.
Then I'm going to show you some evidence of it. I did get a hold of Veronica Bruce before Natalie was killed.
Take the next left onto US 117
When I got a hold of her,
Avenue.
she was drinking, and she was very drunk. And she claimed that she only had one wine cooler. But she bullied me the whole time. I needed help, and all she was able to garner from me was that I was trying to get disability, which she'd already known for months. When Tamara quit her job, it made it almost impossible to do anything in Nebraska, because without somebody to advocate for me who would actually do the job, I just got to take the abuse. So, because Missy was a professional who worked in this field, and also a friend that I'd known for a lot of years, Brenda Dickinson felt that I should call Missy. When I got a hold of Missy and she was drunk, I tried to get a hold of her, and she was going to call and going to call and going to call. And then she got a hold of me when she was so super drunk and she was in a room. And I couldn't get past the part where I was trying to get disability so that I could stop the abuse. And she was asking me, what abuse? And I was trying to tell her, but she was too busy talking over me and interrupting me and saying, well, why don't you just let it go? Or, I got a lot on my plate, and I get that. I really do. I get you've got a lot on your plate. And I feel bad for going to you for help. And I really needed the help. It could have saved Natalie Bollinger's life. It could have helped us stop these predators who harm me to this day. It could have done something to put a stop to this shit. But Veronica Bruce did not come through because she was drunk. And then she was angry because I said something about her being drunk. How dare I? And she threw a tantrum at me. And then I got this little thing at the bottom that said this person is unavailable on message.
Take the next right onto First Street, then turn left on Stillwell Avenue.
So, after that, Tim Beeson was still harassing me. So I sent a message to Natalie and I said, hey,
take the next right onto 3rd Street.
Call off the dogs. I just want to be left alone. And then she wanted to type at me that I brought it on myself. Isn't that the excuse of every fucking predator in history? That I brought it on myself. I brought on the abuse over her fucking drug addictions. By what? By accepting a phone for my birthday? For being peer pressured into going to Virginia where she was going to kill herself? It's fucking insane. Anyway, later on, after Natalie was dead, I tried to get a hold of her, and she wasn't having it. Just too busy being angry and fucking hateful at me, because how dare I say anything about her alcoholism? Just like I can't say anything to Christian about his alcoholism or his drug use. What's he gonna do? He's gonna throw a fucking tantrum. What's Shannon Alvarado gonna do if I say something about her alcoholism and how it affects her? I get that it was Missy's personal time. I get it. And I asked her to get back a hold of me when she was sober. And then she called me a whole bunch of times in a row while she was drunk. I was like, no, I'm not gonna fucking answer your fucking phone when you're fucking drunk and being mean to me. No, I need your help. Not to be chastised like I'm a bad person for judging you for drinking. Or judging you for having some time to yourself. That's not what it's about. It's about you're being a friend, right? And it's a very serious issue that I'm having, and I need to turn in predators who are threatening me like right fucking now. What does Missy do? She postpones and postpones and postpones and then calls me drunk. She says later on, oh, I only had wine cooler. I'm like, you're slurring your speech. You are slurring your speech and saying the same thing 10 times in a row like I didn't hear you the first time. I need help stopping long-term abuse. Telling me a pretty meme that you read off of Facebook last week that you thought was a pretty saying. Telling me that over and over and over again is not help. And I hope to God that she doesn't tell those things to patients or her customers, whatever you want to call it with Region 3. Anyway, I'm going to go in. I'm going to get myself something. Probably some food. Well, that's going on. Scott DaCosta and his harassment and his deputies constantly driving around my house over and over and over again after assaulting me. After all of this bullshit. Then I get out of prison. I got about 3 months after I get out of prison to be able to turn this in and get the body cameras. And I can't do that because I have no safe way to talk to the cops. At this point, I've already paid my sister $1,800 to come help me. God damn, she's expensive. Now, this isn't the first recording with my sister, because she also talks about being bullied by my mother and the rest of the family at the funeral. One of the things that I'm afraid of, and the conversation with Marcia Estrada shows this, the courts often make mistakes. Or they'll send the stuff out too late, or they will write down the wrong date, and then you get into trouble because you didn't show up to court when, well, like, for example, court in Tillamookkk County, Nebraska is usually on Thursdays for the civil court. However, my court is on Friday the 4th, which is odd. Now, there's also the fact that I'm supposed to go to the Tillamookkk County Courthouse when Leslie Snell is at lunch. Unfortunately, Joan Hanson, the court clerk, is on lunch at the same time. Leslie Snell came back from lunch before Joan Hanson did, and Leslie Snell looked right at me and got on the phone. So she's probably going to pretend that I violated the protection order. Meanwhile, the protection order is illegal. Joan Hanson does need to be subpoenaed to the court to show that I did on multiple occasions go in about getting protection orders against Scott DaCosta, as well as some of his deputies, as well as, well, many, many others. Now, this recording here is with my sister, and this is the day that we were supposed to be going to the courts, that Joan Hanson was to come out and meet me. That way I don't have to go into the courthouse, because on the protection order it says I'm not allowed in the Tillamookkk County Courthouse. Meanwhile, I was illegally prevented from going to court. This is one of the tricks that is utilized. You are prevented from doing the paperwork, prevented from having any assistance with the paperwork. They,
it says address. Whose address are you supposed to put on there? Your address or the address for the courts? In this recording, I did have to ask Joan that. Now, with Leslie Snell, there's a possibility that when I go in to talk to McCook Police Department today, as Amanda DeMett has already stated that she is afraid of, there's a possibility that I might be arrested for obviously doing what I was told to do. Now in this, me and Tara have to go to the courthouse not once but twice because Joan Hansen is on lunch. When she comes out to the vehicle, that's supposed to be for my safety, and also supposed to be so that I don't violate this protection order, which is bullshit, against somebody who broke the law and intentionally tried to make me a target, again, for harassment that she was aware that I was going through, and I am speaking specifically about Leslie Snell. She intentionally attempted to make me a target by giving out my phone number, knowing full well that I was already being targeted on my previous phone and had to buy a new phone and get a new phone number again. And then, of course, the paperwork with, what's that SOB's name? William Barr shows that, yes, I had multiple phones. When I contacted him to try to get help, it was on multiple phones. It wasn't harassment. He was my friend, or pretended to be my friend. But, of course, instead of trying to do something about the harm that was coming to me, he wanted to tell me a bunch of bullshit about God. Whoa, 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 whoa. Not cool. Anyway, so in this, there's me, obviously pissed off at my sister about this tweaker cam bullshit, and she does speak about how she feels that she is being targeted, and possibly because of the situation with me, which is one of my fears. But then there's also the fact that she has no actual evidence of this. In the previous recording that I was just trying to make at the very beginning, she's talking about how black cars are following her everywhere. It's some insane stuff. Now, I don't believe that these black cars are following her everywhere. For me, it's not black cars following me all over the place. It's not some big conspiracy from the Illuminati chasing me. It's not tweaker cams set up and you have absolutely nothing to show for it. In months and months and months of having these things up, I gave my sister $400 all the way back in January of 2021. $400 so that she would have the money to get into housing. She is still not in housing, and she spent that money on tweaker cams that have since then, since January, that's over a year, January of last year, they have caught absolutely nothing, and she still spends all that time per day looking at these cameras trying to find something off in Tweakerville. And I don't want to think that my sister is a meth head. If she was any...
Alright, I don't know why they left their music on. I have no idea what the hell they're listening to. Anyway, I would get back to the conversation there, but I'm also mixing up my dinner. I can't find my speaker for this, which is really crappy because I kind of need it. Tomorrow, whether I can make it into the library or not, I have to go and make it into the library. We'll give that a minute to steam, and then we can maybe eat it.
What else, it would be a different story. She's my sister, and I want to assume the best in her, but her behaviors are showing me tweaker. Her actions are showing me tweaker. Her state of mind is showing me tweaker. The people who are around her and helping her to make decisions are schizoaffective and also violent-minded. Yes, that all points to tweaker. But I don't want to think my sister is a tweaker. I want to assume the best in her. I want to keep telling myself, well, maybe she got hit in the head real hard, or things like that. Now, when I get done with this one, I will go back to the other video, or the other recording that I have, and I'll play just the first part of it. You'll get to hear my frustration, how frustrated I am at this tweaker bullshit, about how when I was paying my sister for help, how she wanted to go off on her tweaker bullshit. And I don't know how to look at it any other way. I mean, I've taken this stuff to people who have been meth addicts, who are recovering, who are no longer on the drugs, and them explaining to me the actual situation as they see it from their experience, actual experience as meth addicts. Something that
Sorry about the vehicles. Like I said, I'm stuck in public. It's almost impossible to do this.
I've only experienced secondhand. But I'm going to play this, and it's got to be raw, real, and uncut. It's 57 minutes and 12 seconds long, and, well, it's got a lot of stuff in it.
Sorry about the lull.
Hey, Sean. Hey. Back up, Walter. Hey, sir. How about I just drive us over? Yes, ma'am. I gotta put on my seatbelt first. I've been looking up the roads. It won't get me in trouble.
It won't get me in any trouble.
No, it won't. That's a good thing.
For what?
Misrepresenting the situation. Due to the fact that he's schizoaffective, that's legal defense. He can't get in any trouble.
For what?
touching my computer. I never should have let him do it. I knew better. It was my fault.
Alright, now here's the thing with him touching my computer. My little sister, he came and ran into my little sister apparently. So they came over to Dallas Richmond's house when my sister was going to help me. And he claimed that he was a computer dude. And I'd already told my sister no. I didn't want Ed over there while we were working, because he's a distraction. And because he's schizoaffective, he's not going to be able to add much. She swore up and down that he was not schizoaffective. So I gave him permission to look at my computers and to give me a bid. What did he do? He erased an entire computer worth of evidence. I still have the computer, still wiped, haven't touched it, because I was told the FBI might have a way to recover it. Not that they give a shit about little old me. You have no idea how angry I was when I realized he'd erased a whole computer full of evidence. Literally all I could do is take a screenshot of what he had done. Or sorry, a picture on my phone. Anyway, that was the day prior to this recording. Dual County Sheriff's Department, as well as the state police, had been hovering around Dallas Richmond's house for days. They already knew I was still trying to turn in Leslie Snell in the Dual County Sheriff's Department. It was hell. This is also the same day that Tara was followed by the cops and had her life threatened and my niece's life threatened. Did that really happen, or was she twacked out of her goddamn gourd? I don't know. Anyway, we'll allow this to continue. Tara talks about my little brother Michael being a child molester. Like everybody, she tries to play stupid, but I get it out of her eventually. I also snap at her for acting like a goddamn tweaker. She tells me that Ed and also her father-in-law were hearing from people around Sydney that she was dealing meth. And she talks about that in this. Do I believe Ed if he said something like that? No, how can I? Do I believe the guy Riley Sr., Riley Lawton Sr., or Riley Linden Sr.? Yeah, he's been around a while and he knows the life and he knows the people. If he says that my sister's dealing meth, he might be right. The fact that she had her little camper all set up with tweaker cams, kind of a dead giveaway.
Lanny spoke up last night. It was about a 2.5 hour interview. A couple of these. I don't want any more mentions of me and Destiny online. I'm wondering if us being mentioned online is what's causing us to be harassed. We're not being harassed. That's the thing, is that well, you definitely are being harassed. But it's not stalker stuff, it's just vandalism so far. I'm trying to get you all the stuff that you need in order to, if you are being followed and stuff like that, which, I can't say if it's happening or not. Yeah. But the best.
Yeah, I can prove the things that I'm saying about my situation. I don't know about my sister's situation. All I know is that she's got a bunch of tweaker cams that my niece is being neglected about because Tara's constantly looking at those cameras. A bunch of black and white cameras looking for any little bleep, any little glitch. Anything that happens must be Senior trying to fuck with the cameras or some crap like that. There's literally nothing in it. I guess tree branches moving, some rain. But there's no vandalism. Nothing. And she got 8 fucking cameras pointed at that thing. 8 cameras. So then, of course, she's like, oh, well, I think the harassment is against me and Destiny is... Well, yeah. It's not over the stuff online. These people have been threatening to kill him since before any of this was online.
Way to protect you on that is to get you the stuff that you need, and I'm trying to do that. But that's the thing, Tara, is that you guys aren't going through 1/100th what I am. Right. And, these people obviously made these threats that obviously should have been taken seriously, and my family, instead of brushing it off like it's not a major issue, it is a major issue. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, no more mentions of us. Just because I want to make sure.
Tara doesn't get that option anymore. When she let me know that people were threatening her and my niece, and she didn't try to turn it in, she just wanted to play fucking head games. After 4 different times when she was going to help me, she needed money, she got the money. As soon as she got the money, she left with Ed. That's a pretty good indicator.
From the recordings I've gone through, that it's been going on. The mentions of us have been going on for a year. Over a year. I started talking about the situation. Yes, with family ignoring me and blowing me off all the way back when it first started. When I said that the truth is what needs to come out, people need to tell the truth. Yes, people need to tell the truth. You and Destiny and me will have to deal with this until I am dead or someone steps forward and has the balls to speak up and tell the truth. And it has to be told to the American public so that they're aware. Yes, but there is a recording on there that you mentioned me and Michael, and you labeled us as others, and not you. No.
Some people are drug dealers, some people are pedophiles. It depends on who it is. If I accuse somebody of being a pedophile, that's not saying that they're a drug dealer too. If I accuse somebody of being a drug dealer, that doesn't mean they're a pedophile too. And here we get into the nitty gritty. This is right before we went to try to turn in the paperwork. See, Leslie Snell, the reason they'd been hovering around my house was because I was still trying to turn them in. And they figured if they pulled some felonies again and tried to harass me using Leslie Snell, the receptionist, and she cry a little bit, oh, poor me, poor me, poor me. Well, then lo and behold, she gets what she wants, and Scott DaCosta gets what he wants, and they get to prevent me from being able to go to the courthouse. All they keep doing is cutting me off from resources and making it unacceptable and, of course, inaccessible. And that is never okay. This is what police do when you try to turn them in, when they're trying to push you out of town and threaten, harass, and intimidate you. And anybody that tries to help you.
Never, ever accused you of being a drug dealer or a child molester. And Michael, absolutely, I've got recordings from multiple people when that whole thing happened telling me, yeah, Michael Heavenly was molesting his own daughter. And yes, it was Brenda Dickinson who told me that. And not just Brenda Dickinson, but Amanda told me that. And they're not the only ones.
I've got those
I
recorded.
had a lot of people telling me that. Meanwhile, Mom had Tim, but she ignored me. I didn't exist. I wasn't worth even listening to about it. And, you know, that's
The
my
way the
thing.
recording went, it went as in Terry Higgs and Michael Albert, but the way it was worded, it didn't get worded enough to, you know. It's been a while since I've been to.
Now, this, when she starts telling me that people are accusing her of being a drug dealer, and she finally fesses up to the fact that I wasn't the one calling her a drug dealer. She also admits that my brother was charged and that my mom did help him.
That's the problem with having to do it that way without other people speaking up. Like, I have to try to explain it. I'm autistic. When I'm overwhelmed, my words don't come out right. And that's why I need other people to live with the evidence and to speak up for me.
It's not just autistic people. People with PTSD quite often have communication issues, and anyone can be flustered when they're afraid. When there's something important going on and they are being abused and they're not being listened to. Let's continue this recording.
Do you have to call before you go in?
Yep. So I gotta have you call.
I have to call?
Yeah, I'm not allowed to call the courthouse.
Leslie Snell was slow. At this point, I had to try to turn in Joan Hansen and Dual County Sheriff Scott DaCosta, as well as Leslie Snell, for giving me all the wrong information on how to turn in the protection orders. The first set of protection orders that I turned in, I had to turn in Scott DaCosta to Scott DaCosta himself. One of those protection orders was for Ted Bollinger. One of those protection orders was for Tim Beeson. One of those protection orders was for Chris Kurth. One of them was for, well, of course, Jared Hahn. And that first set, because Joan Hansen said that it has to go through the sheriff's department, and they take care of all of it. Well, that's what I tried. Scott DaCosta, instead, him and his deputies started retaliating against me often, bullying me often. This is after I got out of prison, this recording here.
The troopers, I'm trying to turn them in too.
But sometimes you can go they start something and you just go. So
I do.
I don't have to go.
supposed to send the clerk of the courts out.
Stop. Hi, I'm here with my brother Sean, and somebody's supposed to be getting sent out to collect his house. Sorry. Someone, who is it?
The Dual County Clerk of Courts.
Dual County Clerk of Courts is supposed to.
John Hanson.
Oh, sorry, what? 2909? Okay. Okay, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Oh, she's at lunch? Okay. Oh, okay. Well, if they're at lunch, then we can come back in like, I don't know, what time? Yeah, she's at lunch? Okay. Oh, okay. 2909? Okay. Yep. Thank you. Bye. 2909. Should be back at 1. I have to be back by 2:30 because I gotta get Destiny out of school.
Yeah.
Zena, stop.
Want to go do something for an hour? Well, it wouldn't be an hour.
It'd be a half an hour.
Yeah.
Back to your house, I guess.
God, I wish it was my house. That was the house I was going to buy with the money that ended up getting spent on the courts. The thing with not speaking up again is they got completely into a big giant mess. Now, if they pull some bullshit today, what I need is someone who's going to speak out publicly about it. But that's the horrible thing, is that I get treated like I'm a terrible person for telling the truth or doing it the way that it needs to be done. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being abused. I'm tired of people getting away with doing whatever the hell they want to. I'm tired of people like Larry Nelson and you and all of these other people, that know things about the situation that didn't come forward and now want to be mad at me because I had to come forward alone instead of people verifying that I was telling the truth. Like, oh, why don't you just let it go? Why don't you just love yourself? Shit like that. Like, if I didn't love myself, I wouldn't be trying to get home. I wouldn't have gone through all that bullshit at Grandma's funeral. Instead of people saying, oh, you shouldn't say nothing, you shouldn't say nothing, don't talk about us, I'm not going to stop telling the truth because as long as this is going on, I have to be afraid, you have to be afraid, those threats are very real. It's not like I made this stuff up. People were threatening to kill me and my family, but more than that, it was killed.
up loud and proud and say, hey, this is wrong, this is okay, it does need to stop. Sean is telling the truth, and it's not like I'm not trying to show it. There's a lot of people that I paid a lot of money, like Graham, for example, is supposed to go through this with me and help me.
Graham Milborn. He gave me a ride to my grandmother's funeral, which is where my